Hello, this is John with WesleyGospel.com. Today I want to talk about perfectionistic concepts of discipleship and commissioning that exist within church organizations, and why I believe these are really problematic uh, from from preventing the spread of the gospel and preventing the spread of the Holy Spirit out into the world more effectively. Um, I really truly believe uh, modern evangelical church culture is extremely perfectionistic and extremely micromanaging the way it approaches ministry. And it's not Bible. It really is just not Bible the way it's done. Um, and that is why, although I have had friends and family and I've been able to get a peek at it on multiple occasions, I have stayed away from it. Not in disobedience to God Himself, but in disgusting observation of the way men do things and these ideologies that they have about who gets to be preacher and who doesn't, and just the lack of facility and willingness to be able to create places for preachers to be trained and sent out in churches. The only place in my 24 years of being a Christian, the only place I have seen anything remotely close to this is my recent attendance of a fundamentalist Baptist church. This independent fundamentalist Baptist church uh, has a academy, a Christian academy, as part of its operation, where they teach the Abeka curriculum, but they also have a Bible college that they operate inside of the same facility. So they don't have like a facility that says this is a Bible college, but they will have people still come in after hours. College students come in after hours uh, to the school and do the Bible college classes in there. That is the only church organization I have ever seen, independent church organization I've ever seen where they have this missionary mentality of training up preachers who feel called to preach and sending them out. They have a routine. It is the most impressive thing I have ever seen. Now, uh, I did see this at a charismatic church, something similar like this, at a independent charismatic church one time, but I did not agree with their ministry philosophy or their ideologies that they had there. But if a church does not have a school, and if a church does not have a Bible college or something like it, then it's not really fully functioning, in my opinion, because uh, it's just a bless me club, and it creates lukewarmness and spiritual stagnation, and none of the men in the church have anywhere to go but to just sit there and listen. And that is not the objective of the Holy Spirit. The objective of the Holy Spirit is to get the men in the church fired up for evangelism and to send them out, uh, not just to invite people to church, but to get them to preaching. And there are so many churches out there that just do not have this. They just do not have, it doesn't even occur to them. And look, you don't have to have this elaborate thing to have something that you call a Bible college in your church. It doesn't have to be elaborate. People make it elaborate. That's them doing that, making it elaborate like that. It doesn't have to be like Assemblies of God Theological Seminary. It doesn't have to be like Christ for the Nations. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It doesn't have to be like Morning Star. It doesn't have to even cost money. All these independent churches need is is some program where young men can have a definite ministry track that they can put themselves on, where they finish a course, and then the pastor gives them a game plan for what to do next. You know, if the pastor doesn't want to share his pulpit with a bunch of preachers, that's understandable, because that's his pulpit. But what he should be doing is getting them to the point, thinking the whole thing through, and getting them ready to start churches somewhere else, instead of just growing up and listening to him preach until he dies. It's called the Great Commission. That's called discipleship. When people start using the word discipleship in other ways, like unquestioningly obey me to be a greeter, that's not discipleship. Biblical discipleship is Bible college and commissioning and sending them out when they finish the course, right? Isn't that what Jesus did with the apostles? It was Bible college for 3 years. And then when he died, he sent them out, and he rose again, he sent them out. It's a 3-year Bible college program. Yeah. So I feel a lot of these non-denominational churches, these non-denominational charismatic churches, these non-denominational Baptist evangelical churches, man, they've got young men sitting in there for decades, and they're not even training them up in any sort of a preaching program, any sort of a church planting program, or anything. And you're thinking to yourself, why is this the case? Have they told themselves that they can't do it because it's not big enough, it's not flashy enough? Man, all you need is a classroom full of 5 guys and have some sort of a program, some sort of an independent certification program to get them equipped and ready to do pastoral or evangelistic ministry, whatever they feel called to. Maybe they feel called to the Ephesians 5, thing where some of them might feel called to be a foreign missionary. I'd call that being an apostle, essentially. Or maybe they were called to pastoral, or maybe they were called to be an evangelist. There needs to be something. You can't just let men who are now they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s, and there's still no place for them to go. There's still no place for them to go but Sunday morning sitting there listening to preacher. That's wrong. That's wrong. There needs to be a place for them to go to get trained up to become the preachers that God means them to be. Ever learning and never coming to the knowledge of the truth is what the Pharisees were. But people who are born again, they need to be trained up, filled up with the Holy Spirit, and sent out. And you need to stop doing porno covenant eyes accountability partner, so every time they slip up, you disqualify them from preaching again. Like the devil. How's that going to encourage them to get on fire for God? You need to set them on the work of the ministry, man, so that they can more die to themselves and get to preaching. Because the more sermon preparations they do, the more they get to preaching, the less porn they're going to want to look at. And you got to tell them, look, hey, being independent's challenging. You got to start a following. You got to create a ministry thing. You got to be on social media. You got to develop a following. And there's finance aspects that go into starting a ministry. Man, young men need to be taught. They need to be told what to do. They need to be shown. Your lifetime of experience, preacher, you're supposed to show them how to do it. That's discipleship. That's biblical discipleship. That's what Jesus did with the 12 apostles for 3 years. And then when you look in the book of Acts, you know what I believe? The Apostle Paul was discipled by the Pharisees. He learned all that stuff from the Pharisees, but instead he used it for Jesus. He had the Bible. Paul had the Bible college in Jerusalem. So the Pharisees were the ones that traveled and compassed sea and created synagogues everywhere, and created twofold more the child of hell, right? Remember? So they knew how to go around spreading Judaism. But when Paul got converted, he took his Jewish Bible college knowledge and he applied that to Christianity. That's how he was able to start all those Christian churches. Instead of starting Jewish synagogues, he started Christian churches. That's what he did. So Paul had Bible college, and he was sent out, and he knew what to do because he was trained. He was trained. That's biblical discipleship. It wasn't like Paul just went to the apostles and then the apostles were like teaching him how to do. The apostles didn't tell him how to do anything. They were scared of him. They said, "Hey, Paul, I don't think things are going to work so great for you being here around us. So, but we bless you. We ask you to just kind of go out among the Gentiles. See ya." He was on his own, man. So Paul was trained by Gamaliel. That was his Bible college. And so, I mean, come on, man. You got guys in your church that have been there in that church for 20, 30 years, and you still haven't put them into a training program to get them out and about and start their own churches. Man, something's wrong. Or maybe they don't want to do that. Maybe they want to do itinerant evangelism, get some bookings. Man, you got to show them what to do. Maybe some of them might feel called to theological writing. You need to show them how to do that. I do not believe men, husbands, fathers in churches that have been there saved for 10 and 20 years are just supposed to sit there, keep on listening to preachers preach sermons. Look at Mike Bickle. Look at Mike Bickle. Man, the man of the world's going to let you down, but Jesus never fails. It's high time that guys that are born in the 70s and 80s rise up and come into their own. Porno notwithstanding. Porno's going to be there and attacking you your whole life, dude. It's going to be there to attack you your whole life, and you need to put an aggressive warfare up against it. Get yourself some Deco M3 and some Covenant eyes on that thing. But man, stuff's still going to break through. Facebook, there's always going to be something. Do not let anybody perfectionistically disqualify you from doing the work of an evangelist. Preach the law and preach the gospel and get out there, man. Don't let anybody hold you back. And if they don't have a ministry training program there in that church, if they don't have a ministry training discipleship program to get you up and get you out, sent out, that's a lukewarm church. You need to get out of there because the Lord wants you to get out there and share the gospel. God bless you out there. This is John with WesleyGospel.com.